Welcome to episode 2 of OneTAKE. In this episode, I speak with my friend and colleague, AJ Hanna. Besides simply being a great guy and a diagnosed Disney fanatic, AJ was also a pioneer in the robotic process automation industry. He's sought out for his experiences and has his own YouTube channel, Ask AJ, where he shares his unique insights with the world. Join me as I chat with AJ about automation, work, Disney, and YouTube fame. Hello everybody, Ian Barkin here from the floor of a conference. This one happens to be a Blue Prism World conference in Orlando, Florida. And I am here yet again with my good friend, AJ Hanna. Many of you may know him from his hit YouTube channel, Ask AJ, that has taken the world by storm. Viral.
The complete world, not just small corners of it, the complete world by storm.
Moments there where I thought that Gangnam Style was going to be put in its place by Ask AJ.
It was close.
Yeah,
it was touch and go for a while.
Almost broke the internet. So there you have it. So Ian Barkin, AJ Hanna, and thought we would just take this time to chat about state of the industry, what we're up to, what you're up to, how things are going.
Yeah.
And so how are you doing?
Good. Lots of exciting things going on. Nice. Obviously the market continues to be very, very active, very hot. Getting the opportunity to speak to a lot of people. I did a presentation yesterday for a couple of hundred healthcare auditors for an auditing firm in Indianapolis, which was fantastic. So lots of people still wanting to find out the fundamentals and the basics,
right.
So it's been busy, and I know you've been busy.
A little bit. I've been a little busy.
Yeah.
I was in the Philippines last week, visiting several of the delivery centers in the organization that bought Symphony, SYKES Enterprises, and so that was exciting. It was it's just energizing to hang out with such a passionate group of people who love their craft and are good at it and are always aspiring to continuously improve and use new tools and technologies, et cetera, to just be better. So that was exciting. So.
Well, certainly it's been a very productive few months after the acquisition, and continuing to get to know the SYKES members of the family over these months, and lots of tremendous opportunities, I think, for all of us.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately we're going where the space is going, and I think that's, as you'd mentioned, there's a lot of excitement. There are thousands of people here at this event where there used to be hundreds and where there used to be dozens.
Yeah.
Right? So the awareness is high. The scaled strategic adoptions aren't as high, but that's natural. It just comes in time.
Yeah.
And so that's what's happening now in the industry, and ultimately the question is, how do we use technology responsibly? How do we add to the continuous improvement narrative, and how do we educate everybody? You and I spend a lot of time doing that. Your YouTube channel does an extraordinary job of sharing your experiences, what you've seen go right, what you've seen go less than right, and really just to help. Right? Just to help enterprises.
Well, it takes help. You need somebody that you can rely on. You need somebody that you can bounce things off of. Yeah. This is far more, I think, complicated than what most people recognize. I think we've said that many times before. Yeah. It's not quite as simple as what may be perceived to be. But being that we're at an event for one of the leading RPA software firms in the business, really the elephant in the room, not necessarily this room, but in the larger intelligent automation room, is that a prominent voice in the industry recently made the pronouncement that RPA is dead. Has this death been exaggerated, do you think?
Yes.
I know what I think, but what do you think?
No, because it's really only just, and this analyst doesn't believe this either. I think it's for effect, but it's still early, right? It's still only a few years in which enterprises have been aware of or been made aware of this as an additional tool in the toolkit. They need to develop the capabilities internally. They need to find the processes that they can test and cut their teeth on. They need to taste early successes and failures, learn from them. Yeah. And only then can you really start to to mature and scale your operations, and we're just getting there. And there are very few enterprises that have truly gone fully strategic with this stuff. So it's just entering another phase. Like the early phase may be dying towards the end of it. It's sort of sunsetting, but the later adoption stages of more maturity, better infrastructure, better services providers out there, is what's coming.
Well, the marketing hype certainly has taken a turn. With the marketing hype being pushed a lot more towards the so-called artificial intelligence applications that are out there. But I think what's interesting is another colleague of ours said something a few months ago that I thought was fascinating, in that he completely predicted that nobody would be talking about RPA because it will just be a foregone conclusion that you're doing it.
Yes.
And so, as opposed to it being dead, perhaps the shift in marketing,
it's just embedded.
It's just a part of what people do. It becomes the way work is done, and it's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, and I think that's been the reason why we see more case studies coming out. And it's less because there are more case studies, although there are, but it's also heavily because people are just more comfortable talking about what they've done. They saw it as a real strategic differentiator, or they needed to be somewhat more protective of the efforts. Yeah. And now they're comfortable talking about it because everyone's doing it.
Well, and I think the narrative has changed, certainly from when you and I got started, when the narrative was all about headcount reduction, cost takeout resulting from headcount reduction.
Right.
And there has been cost reduction without the massive headcount reduction that was originally predicted. And I think that's probably why more and more organizations are willing to acknowledge that they're working on these programs. And the plain fact of the matter is, you have to. You're not going to be able to keep pace with your competition if you are not moving down these steps. And if for nothing else, if it's a jumping off point for future technologies, you still need to do it. So I agree with you. I think it was probably said more for the buzz that it would generate, and it did. It absolutely did. But RPA is not dead. I think RPA is slowly becoming more of a given for what people expect they're going to have to do. That being said, we still get awful lots of contacts from people who haven't initiated yet.
Yeah. Okay, so let's change tact. I want to talk about you.
Oh, okay.
So, and I want to talk about your YouTube channel.
Okay.
So you've been doing it for how long now?
Almost 16 months, 18 months, year and a half, roughly.
Okay. How many episodes have you?
So there are two series. They're the basic Ask AJ series, and there are about 32 episodes of that right now. And then I do a series called Talking Bots with Buddies, where I interview mostly colleagues of ours. And there are probably another 12 episodes of that. So we're not quite to 50 yet, but.
Okay, so how's it been? What have you learned in the process of 16 months of filming yourself for YouTube fame?
Sitting in a room by yourself with an iPhone and trying to emote can be challenging.
Got it.
It's not as easy as what people might think. What I think's really been interesting is the number of people that medium reaches. Yeah. And we've had it here, we've had it in other events where people have seen something that either you and I have done. Yep. And come up to us and say, hey, I've seen your videos. And so the reach that we can get through that modem is important, but it's also very, it's rewarding to hear people say, that message answered a question that I was struggling with, or something that I had in mind, or that I was able to use that material to help me explain a conversation I was having with someone else.
Example, what message, what message had you said that somebody came up and said, that was great, that really helped me, I shared it with my team?
Yeah, so I think one of the, and I think maybe it's because it's catchphrasey, but that it's not set it and forget it technology really seemed to resonate with people. Okay. And talked to an awful lot of folks who said, as we were contemplating where we were going and what we needed to do, we hadn't really thought about the fact that you just don't plug these things in and walk away. It's something that you have to continue to care and maintain, just like you do a human workforce. That seemed to have some resonance. Actually, got a huge response to the one I did in December after an event that I was at in Austin, where we did an interactive discussion group on why pilots fail. And so I shared some thoughts on why pilots fail and got a great reaction to that, saying, thank you for that. I'm going to try to avoid that. Yes. I'm going to look for those things as we go through. And as you know, a lot of it just comes back to the amount of time you've spent in building a strategy, in putting a plan together, in treating this not as a technology implementation, but as a true transformation based on your processes.
So which was your favorite video to film so far?
Oh, the ones at Disney. You know the answer to that.
That's true, okay.
No.
That was an easy one.
That was an easy one, yeah. I did a couple of early ones at Disney. We're in Orlando, so I'm oddly being drawn just west of here somehow.
For those who don't know AJ, he loves Disney, all things Disney.
I do.
Okay, so which one has, and I know the answer to this one too, but I just want to hear you say it, which video has the highest viewership?
So what you really want me to say is I was wrong about this one. And I'm willing to admit it.
I don't know that I want you to say that, but you said it, and so it's good that we have it on record.
So I was skeptical of the surprise egg video that we did. Got a lot of encouragement from you and some other members of the team to say.
So explain it. So what was the surprise egg video?
Well, so first of all, understand that my kids are too old for this, so they're not watching.
Okay.
My daughter's watching. She's watching people eat. KMSR or something like that, but
but my kids are the right age.
Your kids are the right age.
They watch people open toys for hours, seemingly.
Open packages just to see what's in it.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's dialogue, sometimes there's not. And so
good storytelling's not dead.
So good storytelling is not dead.
Yeah, so the hours of egg toy opening. So
hours of egg toy opening. So I feel very confident that there are, hundreds, if not thousands, of 6-year-olds across the United States who thought, "Wow, this is going to be great," and then they hear a 50-year-old man talking about.
Disappointed the heck out of it.
Pretty much.
Well, fair enough.
Pretty much, but we got a huge number of views on that. So I'm not sure I'm willing to do a video of me chewing on potato chips or whatever these. Fair enough.
We got to. You know what the next one we need to do is we need to just make slime. We need to make slime and film it. Just you and me.
I used to do that as a kid. Yeah.
Did you do that as a kid?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I did not, and now it's like everyone. The Elmer's glue is single-handedly saved by industrial amounts of glue that children are buying these days.
Just like the healthcare industry keeps the fax industry in check.
Fair enough. Yep. Slime.
Homemade slime making is keeping Elmer's glue in check. Okay. It's been a really it's been a neat way to connect with people. Yep. I've over the years I've done a lot of speaking events and had the opportunity to talk to a lot of people. But it allows you to connect to people in a way that maybe you didn't before. Cool. And, and as you know, the ethic has always been around it trying to be very natural. It's not scripted in any way, shape, or form. In one episode, my head may be to this side of the frame, and another it may be to this side of the frame. So it's obviously very, I won't say gonzo, because that's really not what it is, but it's obviously very low tech, but the point is just trying to get a message point and getting content across. So it's been fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a speed round of sorts.
Okay.
So I should come up with some questions for the speed round before I actually go into the speed round. Wow, I got ahead of myself.
Should we solicit from the crowd?
Very quickly. Yeah. So we talked about RPA being dead or not. So you said not dead.
Yeah.
AI. The answer to everybody's problems?
No, it's not, and here's why. And so I've taken as kind of a personal goal to try to get as many people as I can to just stop dropping the term AI because AI is like saying you want to buy a vehicle. Okay, you want to buy something that has either 2 or 4 wheels, a motor, and goes forward, but it doesn't tell you whether it's a car, a truck, a motorcycle. Right. AI is the same thing.
Yeah.
And for most of the people that we hear say that, I think we know what they're talking about. They're talking normally about machine learning. They're talking about things that can help them with predictive analytics.
Yes.
I'm reading an interesting book right now by Dr. Eric Topol called Deep Medicine, discussing the impact of artificial intelligence on the growing impact on treatment and diagnostics.
Okay.
And what I found is it's a very balanced approach, because Dr. Topol recognizes that, there's tons of hype about what's available and what's not available.
Right.
Lots of these things are still, for all intents and purposes, lab experiments. And if you look at where they're coming out of Stanford, MIT, Berkeley, they're coming out of these academic institutions that have made a significant investment in AI development. It doesn't mean that there aren't practical usages for certain pieces of AI.
Yeah.
Will it continue to be a more prevalent part of what we do and what people are wanting? Yes, it absolutely will be. It is, in many ways, it's not ready for prime time. Yes. There are small functions that are. I mean, we carry phones around with personal assistants on them that are proof of the ability of very narrow bands of this technology to be able to function very effectively. It's coalescing different types of that technology together that I think has been the challenge. Just if you look at the challenge that they're having with self-driving cars right now, that is not AI, it is a bunch of different artificial intelligence applications being joined together, and so it's a very complicated process to go through. So, and I've been spending a lot of my focus this year from a study perspective and trying to deepen my knowledge on where the industry experts think this stuff really is.
Right. Oh, good. Well, we should continue our discussion there. Obviously, it matters a lot to us what technologies are ready. Right? Are ready for us to study, us to tinker and play with, us to help enterprises to fit into their toolkit, per se, and so we'll continue that discussion.
Well, I think we're going to have to.
Yes.
The market's demanding that we continue to have those discussions, and I think we'll continue to have to take this stance of being the educator in the market in some ways.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes you may feel like you're walking against a stiff headwind because most of the energy and the messaging is coming perhaps differently from where you are.
Yeah.
And I've always said that I'm a hopeful skeptic for the grander vision of AI.
Right.
I absolutely think there'll be more and more of it. Will we ever get to, artificial general intelligence, which puts everything together and completely replicates human? I don't know, and the experts don't even agree on that. So
I'm playing with the phrase digital pragmatist these days because
that's good.
It's everyone's gaga about digital. And the question is, are you being pragmatic about the technology that you're looking at using, and whether it really does fit the bill, and whether it is ready for prime time?
Yeah.
And so just generally being pragmatic about the space. Okay, so next question is, are you going to Disney World later on this evening or later on this week?
I'm actually going to Disney Springs. I'm having dinner at Disney Springs.
Gotcha. It's kind of like you won the Super Bowl. I'm asking you whether you're
I feel like I'm being set up.
Yes, exactly.
But no, I will not.
We're trying to get this whole thing sponsored, so just no.
Yeah. So my family, I've gotten multiple texts wondering, are you going to Disney? Are you going to Disney?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I am going to Disney Springs.
You're working hard. That's what we're doing right here. We're focused on.
These are great opportunities to reconnect with folks that in the industry and to meet some new people. There's the mix, the change in the knowledge level.
Yes.
From event to event in the years that you and I have been doing these things together is amazing.
Yes.
I think there's still a segment of the market out there who are still figuring it out, still trying to figure out how to spell RPA in some cases, but people are much more knowledgeable, and I think that's a lot because the information that's available today is so much more in depth than what you and I had as we were starting at roughly the same time in previous lives, and but these are great events for people to be able to. I've always said the strength is not even necessarily in what's on stage; it's what you're doing in interactions with peers.
Yeah, no, of course, and that's the value of getting together. So
okay, yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you very much.
So have you seen the new Avengers movie yet?
No, I have
No.
not. I have not seen enough movies to prepare me for the Avengers movie. So I feel there is homework to be done before I go watch the
What's
Avengers.
the last movie you saw?
See, I don't know. I only watch those movies when I'm on airplanes because I know that my wife doesn't care about them. So there's a class of movies that it's safe to watch.
Yeah.
Where I don't come home and say, man, you totally should have seen, I don't know, Bohemian Rhapsody, and then she'll be annoyed that I watched it without her.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So, but she doesn't. She's not in for the superhero movies, so that's a safe genre.
So, one of the things that people ask me on occasion, truthfully, is, do you have any robots in your home? So, what kind of information technology do you have available in your home, Ian? Understanding you're moving into a new home. But
so moving into the new home is a different story. So the old home, it was Alexa. And interestingly, my children just started watching a Disney show where the main character's name is Alexa. And it's wreaking havoc on our household. Like, no joke. She just goes off constantly as you watch this show, and you have to literally tell her to stop because she's trying her best to try to answer your question, not knowing what's going on, and just being triggered constantly. So that's a bad choice by the writers of that particular show. I just like to bring that up.
You can be fairly sure it was intentional.
Who knows? It really was like a dark, sick joke to just. So I have that, but the new home is going to have a lot more sort of networking and smarts. The big debate and discussion in the family right now is Roomba. Do we want to get a robot vacuum floor toy? And I don't know. I'm on the fence about it. It does seem cool, but I don't know. I feel like if I got one, I'd get one for sort of the upstairs and one for the downstairs. Like a mop version.
I don't think they manipulate steps very well.
That's kind of like Boston
that would be
Dynamics.
Cool.
That's like a war dog kind of thing that like climbs the stairs.
Yeah.
But so there's that, and I should probably try to automate more stuff. But there's,
you are a former Internet of Things guy.
Because my past would suggest I should be doing more of this.
Yes, lots more interconnected stuff.
So I am an IoT guy back before it was called IoT. It was in the machine-to-machine days. So and 5G I think is going to do a lot for us as far as enabling what you can make smart and the amount of feed you can shove into and pull off of things.
Yeah.
So I think the next few years is going to be a pretty dynamic and interesting time for the internet. And everything's going to be smarter than it was before. And then it just comes down to, are we smart enough to come up with the routines that we'd want to enable?
Yeah.
Right? Like what do I need the world to do when I open the garage door? I'm not so sure. It's more complicated than turn on the hallway light.
Yeah.
So, so I will come up with some of those routines, and then, maybe my refrigerator will know one day that we're almost out of juice.
So, what do you think people should be looking for in these types of?
Oh goodness.
There are lots of.
Yeah. I think they should be looking for peers who can help them understand where they are today.
Yeah.
Help them benchmark and baseline and learn from others' experiences. They should be. This is a family at this point, so they should just be hanging out with their good buddies. And we should be all challenging ourselves to be digital pragmatists and figure out what's actually worth really banking your career on and spending money on over the next few years. Because there's been a lot of aspirational science projects that have amounted in less than a lot. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't invest 4, 5, 6 years as we have into it unless you have a really strong sense that the there is there. Yeah. And it certainly is. And again, I think one of the things that I hear consistently is that people appreciate hearing a voice that isn't necessarily repeating the same things everybody else is repeating, but tries to take a more pragmatic approach to the way all this is done. So I think that ethic serves everybody well.
Cool. Well, we commit ourselves to being digital pragmatists.
Absolutely.
And thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
And enjoying this couch so we don't have to stand in said event.
It is very comfy.
It is very comfortable. Yeah. I might just stay here for the rest of the day.
You could use an app.
Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, Ian.
Good luck on YouTube fame and more shows. I hope I can join you on some of yours.
I'm sure we'll be doing some more videos together sometime in the very near future.
Perfect. Talk to you later.
Thank you.